On most railroads, nothing rivals the size of a locomotive until you meet WEX 801, the Schnabel car that stretches 231 feet, weighs nearly 400 tons, and turns its massive freight into part of its own structure. Engineered from a 1974 patent and rebuilt for modern Titans, this is technology that moves what shouldn't be movable. And the secrets behind it will forever change how you see the boundaries of rail. So what exactly does it take to move the impossible? Stretching nose to tail for 231 feet, WX-801 dwarfs nearly everything else on the rails. That's longer than a Boeing 747 from nose to tail, and nearly as tall as a two-story house at 18 feet above the rails. The empty car alone tips the scales at 399.60 tons, almost 800,000 pounds of steel and engineering muscle, before it even picks up a load. But it's the wheel count that truly sets this giant apart. 72 wheels, riding on 36 separate axles, spread the car's weight across the rails like a centipede made of iron. Each wheel measures 38 inches across, big enough to stand waist-high on most people, and every axle is critical to keeping the load from crushing the track beneath. When fully loaded, WX-801 can carry more than 1,000 tons, over 2 million pounds, without exceeding the limits of the rails. This isn't just a record, it's a necessity. No ordinary car could handle the kind of cargo this machine was built for. The sheer scale of every component is a direct answer to the impossible task it was designed to solve. After a structural breakdown in 2014, the car underwent a complete rebuild, emerging in 2019 with a new lease on life and a fresh coat of Casgro's red and black paint. Today, it stands as both a relic of brute force engineering and a living tool, owned and operated by Casgro Rail Corporation, ready for the next impossible haul. The real secret behind the Schnabel car lies in its design, first laid out in a United States patent filed on June 24, 1974. Unlike any ordinary rail car, the Schnabel is built as two massive end sections, each with its own set of wheels and a towering arm. When there is no cargo, these halves can be joined together and moved as a single empty car. But when it is time to work, the halves split apart, straddling the load between them. The cargo is not just carried, it becomes part of the car's backbone. Once the lifting arms clamp onto a transformer, reactor vessel, or generator, the load itself forms the central span of the rolling structure, locked in place with heavy pins and hydraulic clamps. Every pound of steel and copper in that transformer is now doing double duty. It is both precious freight and the bridge that connects the two ends of the Schnabel. Flexibility is built into every inch. For cargo with built-in lift rings, the arms grab on directly. For odd-shaped loads, an optional giant floor bridge, essentially a heavy-duty platform, can be installed, turning the Schnabel into an oversized lowboy. This modular approach means the car can adapt to nearly any piece of industrial hardware, no matter how awkward or massive. The patent's original drawings show both methods. The cargo can be a suspended integral member or ride on a reinforced floor. This is engineering that does not just haul big things. It turns the cargo itself into a vital, load-bearing part of the train. Hydraulics are the unseen muscle behind the Schnabel's impossible feats. At its core, the WEX 801 is built not just to lift, but to move its entire cargo, sometimes weighing over 1,000 tons, with the kind of control usually reserved for surgery, not steel. The car's hydraulic jacks can shift a loaded transformer or reactor vessel up to 40 inches side to side, and 44 inches up or down. Those numbers might sound modest, but in the world of railroading, they're enormous. On a tight curve, those 40 inches can mean the difference between scraping a signal post or clearing it by a hair. Under a low bridge, a 44-inch vertical drop can turn an impossible route into a safe passage. None of this happens quickly. Every move is deliberate. The hydraulics work at a pace so slow it's almost hypnotic, sometimes taking minutes to slide a massive load just a few inches. This is by design. Sudden motion would spell disaster for both the cargo and the rails below. Instead, the system inches the weight along, guided by valves and pressure regulators that keep everything perfectly balanced. It's a dance of pistons and steel, where every fraction of an inch is measured and accounted for. Limits are strict. 40 inches left or right, 44 inches up or down. No more. These boundaries are built in, enforced by the very mechanics of the car. The result is a machine that doesn't just carry its freight, it maneuvers it with the kind of precision that turns brute force into an art form. 6 people ride with the Schnabel car when it moves, each with a job that doesn't end when the train stops. Up in the operator cab, green monitors flicker in the dark, casting a soft glow on faces that barely change expression. Eyes scan pressure gauges and digital readouts, watching for the smallest sign of trouble in the hydraulic systems. Every shift of the load, every click of a valve gets logged and double-checked. The car's massive arms don't move unless 2 operators confirm the path is clear. One hand hovers over the emergency stop, the other rests on the control stick, ready to halt 1,000 tons of steel at the first hint of danger. Life settles into a rhythm on these journeys. In the caboose, the rest of the crew grabs a meal or a few hours of sleep while the world slides past at 15 miles an hour. There's a coffee pot that never empties and a battered deck of cards that's seen more sightings than casinos. Someone always keeps an ear on the radio, listening for dispatchers calling out the next slow order or track crew ahead. When the train stops for the night, it's not just the machine that rests. The crew stretches out on bunks, boots lined up by the door, knowing that tomorrow brings another day of inching through small towns and empty fields. Every decision, how much to lift, when to shift, when to stop, comes down to the judgment of these few people. They're the link between the brute force of the Schnabel and the fragile cargo it protects. For them, the car is more than a machine. It's a moving world, and every trip is a test of skill, patience, and trust. Every mile the Schnabel moves is driven by the demands of cargo that ordinary trains can't touch. Power transformers, some weighing more than 400 tons, become the most common passengers, each one vital to the backbone of the electrical grid. Nuclear reactor vessels, built thick enough to withstand decades of radiation, ride suspended between the car's arms like armored giants. Refinery columns, split open and rebuilt for petrochemical plants, stretch as long as city buses and as wide as small houses. Massive generators, destined for hydroelectric dams or coal-fired stations, roll out of factories too large for any road to handle. Even laboratory magnets, built for cutting-edge research, require this rolling fortress. Each of these cargoes is too heavy, too tall, or too awkward for any other rail car. The Schnabel isn't just a machine built for size. It's the only way these industrial titans ever leave the factory floor. 15 miles an hour. That's the top speed when the Schnabel car is loaded, and there's no way around it. Every journey becomes a slow-motion procession, crawling through farmland, suburbs, and city crossings at the pace of a brisk bicycle ride. It's not just about the size or the weight. Every inch of track, every bridge and signal has to be cleared in advance. Planning a single trip can take months, sometimes stretching to a full year before the car ever leaves the siding. Engineers and clearance experts comb through route maps, checking every curve and overpass, measuring clearances down to the inch. Coordination runs through the Railway Industrial Clearance Association, making sure nothing is left to chance. This careful, deliberate pace is why most people never see a Schnabel move in person. While regular freight trains thunder past in minutes, the Schnabel lingers, its presence felt long before and after it passes. Patience, paperwork, and precision define every mile of the journey. Right now, as global infrastructure pushes limits, Schnabel cars remain indispensable for moving what no other machine can. Each journey rewrites what's possible in engineering and logistics, reminding us that even the largest obstacles can become part of the solution. What would you trust a Schnabel to carry?